So today I'm talking about how to deal with difficult people when you're in a triggered state. Have you ever noticed that you can learn about emotional triggers? You can learn what helps you to respond and not react. And yet the second you're in a situation with somebody difficult and you try to apply what you learned, it's almost like it doesn't work, or it just feels impossible to apply at the moment. So let's talk about why that is. For those that don't know me, my name is Michelle. I'm a trauma-informed coach. I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner. I'm also the founder of the School of Transformation, which is a monthly membership where we meet live on Zoom and we do the inner work to heal from complex PTSD, childhood trauma, emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse. We do it together. So if my videos resonate with you, but you're looking for more help, come join me live on Zoom. So let's talk about why it's so hard to apply things like observe, don't absorb. In other words, when people are being difficult, notice it, see it, because we're not blind, right? And it is going to affect us because we're human, but don't absorb it to the point that it causes emotional dysregulation and excess suffering for you. The problem is that when you are triggered, there is a biology to that trigger that is extremely intense. For example, your heart rate increases. Your breathing changes. It becomes shallow and fast and from your chest. Your blood pressure goes up. Blood rushes from your head to your extremities. Your body is flooded with cortisol and stress hormones. In the world of somatic experiencing, we call that activation. Your body is now activated and mobilizing to do something for action. Imagine somebody in a car and their foot is just pounded on that gas pedal and it's foot to the floor. It's at that moment that we often want to apply something that helps us to not react, which makes sense because it's a pattern we can get stuck in. We're dealing with somebody difficult, they trigger us, we react, we go down this cycle of being triggered and reacting in a way that we don't want to. And so it makes sense that at that moment we want to change things. The problem is that if we don't have the capacity to be with all of that that's coming up, then we won't be able to just respond without reacting. This is a topic that we talk about a lot in the School of Transformation. In fact, in one of our upcoming months, we're going to have a whole month dedicated just to working through emotional flashbacks. So if this is something that you struggle with, I want to invite you to come, even if it's just for that month. You can either be a monthly member and join for a month that has a topic that you're interested in, or you can come with us for the year and really commit to transforming from the inside out. So let's talk about how to build capacity. In this video, I'm going to share a little clip from one of our recent group coaching meetings from the School of Transformation where somebody had this exact question come up. Just to give you a little bit of back information, one of the ways that we build capacity is through changing the meaning that a situation is touching on. Here's an example. Let's say I have a difficult parent, right? That is very controlling, that was always controlling my whole life. And anytime I put down a boundary, this parent made me feel as if I was selfish or a bad person. So if that happened in my childhood, that means there's a subconscious belief that if somebody's upset with me when I say no to something, or if I put down a boundary, that means I'm bad, right? And if I have not healed that painful belief is what sets me up to feel triggered when I try to put down a boundary as an adult, especially if the person I'm trying to put down the boundary with is someone that does not respect boundaries or someone that gets angry when I do. I'm going to feel that trigger because what's happening is it's touching on that old painful belief. And anytime a painful belief gets turned on in our body, it creates that activation. And when we're in that activation, it's very difficult to handle any situation from a grounded place when all of those stress hormones are flooding your body and your biology is now in a trauma response. And here's the thing, most of the time, the belief that's getting touched on is a belief that is outdated. We're not even noticing what that belief is. We're just noticing the activation and we're trying to not react from it. Well, a better way is to build the capacity to be with it. And one of the ways is to change the meaning. In our live group coaching meetings, members have opportunities to ask questions. And like I said, recently, this was a question that was asked. So I want to share with you how I responded to this question. And my goal was to help her to, one, find the meaning, because we cannot change a meaning in our subconscious until we know what it is, what's getting touched on, and then how we can begin supporting the past wound so that we can update that belief. So let's watch and see what happened.
I have a question about, I had an interaction yesterday, and he thinks that all my issues are from my mother. So in the moment, I couldn't really do any of the things that we're talking about now. But I mean, so is there something that you can do in the moment? Because yeah, I go crazy activated, and then after a bit, I just have to say, I can't talk any longer, and then I have to walk away. Then, the rest of the day I feel it. Last night I didn't sleep well, so I was like, is there something I can do in the moment maybe that would keep that from escalating pretty quick?
So I think even before the moment, I would encourage you to look back and ask yourself, because of what he was doing, what meaning might you have unconsciously been, or he unconsciously been touching on? Like, was it because he was not seeing his place? Because he did this, that means what?
It's just because I know we've had the same conversation, and it's always, he blames me for anything.
So let's notice that. Yeah. So because he blames me, that means I am what? So I just want to jump in and mention that sometimes our beliefs hide from us. And sometimes when we're trying to find the meaning, we might first focus on the other person. But as we continue saying the phrase, that means I am, then we find the painful belief. And I'm not saying you agree with this, but it might be an unconscious belief.
It goes back, as I've been working on this, and it goes back to I'm not worthy of love.
Yeah. Well, let's pause and notice that. So what's happening, and it sounds like you said, it's happening a lot, right? This is like the same conversation. So it's almost like he's poking his finger in the same wound over and over, right? I'm not worthy of love. Oh, if he doesn't believe me that this isn't my fault, that means I'm not worthy of love, which, by the way, you are not consciously making that association. It's really an unconscious child belief. Is that fair to say?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. So again, since you want to work on it so that when he's doing that, the activation is less, you can practice replay that conversation, notice the activation, right? Orient around your surroundings. Interrupting myself again. Orienting to our surroundings sounds so simple, but it's so important. When we experience our trauma responses and we have this activation in our body does this kind of somatic time travel where it goes back to the events that caused the original trauma wounds and trauma beliefs, which are normally in our childhood. So when we use our eyes to look around, we're helping our nervous system to see, yes, it feels like it's happening right now, but it's not. Like, oh, there's the activation. Okay, he's not here. You're still going to feel it in your body when you rewind that conversation. So now you have a chance to work on it without him being there, because that's really hard. So now you're building capacity in a more safe way. When that comes up, you can work with it. You can be like, okay, how old is this piece? You can ask it. What do you want me to know? Like, I'm here. Adult me is here with you. That piece is going to say, I'm afraid. He doesn't believe me. That means I'm unworthy. You're going to hear that now from like a piece of you. And you can be like, honey, I see you. You are so worthy to me. I'm so sorry you felt that way in childhood. The more you feed that need that piece has, when he does it, your adult self, because I think as an adult, you know that his behavior doesn't mean you're unworthy, right? The adult piece of you. As you spend time with that hurt piece, your adult piece is going to be more present and be able to say, okay, that's your opinion. Does that make sense? Okay, let us know how that goes. All right, let's go to, okay, so did you notice how we can build capacity? One is finding the meaning, the painful belief that's getting touched on that is usually outside of your conscious awareness, and it's usually something you don't even agree with as the adult you are today. But a child piece was made to feel that way and is maybe still unhealed. Step 2 is learning how to emotionally support that child piece so that our adult self can step in and handle the challenges that we're being faced with from a grounded place instead of a triggered place. Also, did you notice that rather than working on this directly with the difficult person, I encouraged her to work with it just using a recent trigger that she had with this person, rewinding it, playing it again, and working with that activation. That's how we build capacity. Last but not least, I wanted to point out the importance of orienting. It sounds so silly. I think in our last meeting, somebody said, this sounds so silly to just look around and notice, and yet it's so effective. So just wanted to throw those tips out there. And as a reminder, if my videos resonate with you and you want to join us in our group coaching meetings, in our live Zoom meetings, there's a sale going on right now if you join for the next 5 months. So I'll leave the link here for you to check out and see if our live meetings might be just what you need to deepen your recovery journey.